Now, I think I said before that when I make videos, sometimes I'll be like all over the place and I won't really be able to say everything I want to say. So tonight I made a video about Nene Leakes slut shaming Cynthia Bailey's daughter Noelle, and I really didn't like even go in. Like I really feel like I scratched the surface, but I think I was also looking at the time. I was like, oh, I really don't want to make a 20-minute video, but now it's probably gonna end up being like a 40-minute 2 video series type thing. Child, who is calling my line? I'm sorry. So, Nene Leakes. When I was going in, I was talking. I misquoted, or rather, I misspoke, and I was saying, twerking in the club when, Nene and them were talking about twerking in the mall, and as if like that matters. It's like, what were y'all doing in the mall before? You know what I mean? I know when I was in the mall, we was acting up. I can't think of any generation of peoples that was fucking with the mall that wasn't doing something wild, These folks need to stop playing like they always had coins, you know what I mean? A lot of these folks did not grow up rich, you know what I mean? So it's just wild to me how, like, they get up here and they're just like, you know what I mean? Because, like, we have to think about how privilege helps people posture. Coins help people posture like a mug. Let me tell you, once people get coins, that's when you notice people will drop shit off. I feel like Nene's gotten very reckless. Like the more money she gets, the more her story kind of falls apart. Okay, I'm gonna turn off my phone because like that's okay. And really, it's my fault. I don't know how to work this phone like that. So, I'm trying to figure out how to turn off the chime when the niggas try to email me instead. I don't know how it's gonna be. Boop boop. Okay. Thank you, Sabiri. Yes. So, anyways, getting back to it. So, but I'd like to say thank you. So, when we're talking about twerking in the mall, I'm just sitting here like, nigga, do you know what I used to do in the fucking mall? Can I tell you? One time I bought some popcorn and just went to the family bathroom and fucking popped that shit and just sat in the mall and was eating it. And I didn't know you couldn't do that at the mall. There's a lot of shit you can't be doing at the mall. I feel like twerking is probably something you can't do at the mall because if you can't eat popcorn at the mall, even though they got a microwave, even though I'm sure it's for baby bottles and things of that nature, but still, you know what I mean? Nobody stopped me. And I still made the popcorn. But I did get stopped by security just for leisurely eating some popcorn in the motherfucking mall. Like, this nigga deadass stopped me and told me to throw it away. And I was kind of tight because it was that cinnamon popcorn, you feel me? Like that cinnamon icing popcorn and shit. It was really delicious. So I was kind of just like, fuck. So I actually started eating it real fast and I threw it away and then I just like dipped. But I was kind of mad. But really, anyways, there was a lot of antics at the mall, you know what I mean? So I feel like they're also implicating like black girls specifically. They're talking about people twerking in the fucking mall. You know what I mean? Oh, they'd be twerking in the mall. And it's just like, even if I was motherfucking doing the Charleston, if I was singing Kids Bop karaoke in the fucking mall, that does not mean that I deserve to have some fucked up shit happen to me. That doesn't mean that I deserve to be left with a child. It doesn't mean any of those things, but like hearing these women talk, it's very strange like how they speak about black women because it's almost as if they're not black women. It's almost as if money and notoriety and privilege has helped them posture so much so that they can kind of look down. And I feel like that's part of oppression, is helping to oppress other folks, you know what I mean? And sometimes you'll be a part of that oppressed group and you'll be sitting up here but sitting on your other privileges, and be looking down at folks feeling like these folks are not you and you are not them, when that is not the case. In so many ways, we are obviously not each other's experiences, but we do have, and see, this is me speaking, obviously as a black woman, and noting my privilege as a light-skinned person, noting that, like, no matter how much I identify as black, folks do question my blackness, and while that is obviously something negative for me, it plays into a larger system of anti-blackness, which is a privilege. And I feel like, some light-skinned people, they be having hard times, really thinking about shit like that, but it's real. light-skinned people, you know, they forget that, yeah, we're all black, but like light-skinned people are so quick to talk about, oh, if slavery happened again, we will all be slaves. But you hear how light-skinned people talk about they would still be slaves, but they won't talk about how within slavery they were favored, and within slavery they had privileges. You know, light-skinned people had a higher rate of being freed. Light skinned people had a more cushier fucking life to protect that light skin. So it's interesting to me that like light skinned people will talk about slavery, but they won't call out the you know, the layers, you know what I mean? And again, as race is constructed, because I know there's people out there who like they don't want to talk about racism because they think all this shit is constructed, and while it is a construct, we live within it. So it's kind of like trying to you know, talk about the stars and the moons and the heavens, but you won't talk about the grass and the fucking earth. Like you won't talk about the shit we on right now, we fucking went right now, but you're willing to transcend your view to some other shit. So while I see you, we all humans, kumbaya, play the banjo, bitch. We gotta talk about this shit because there's healing involved here. But I think when we talk about you know, when we talk about people twerking in the mall as a negative thing, we talk about black women using their bodies how the fuck they want being a negative thing. You know, how many of us in here, if you are a black woman or a black person, a black genderqueer person, a black, just a black fucking being, nigga, what up? You know, how many times have you been, you know, ostracized or called out for just doing something that you wanted to do, you know, like that you thought you had autonomy, but people around you wanted to check the fuck out of you and let you know you did not. And unfortunately for them, that's not the case. You certainly do have autonomy, but within the system, you know, people out here feel like when they have privilege, they want to tell you about yourself, you know. They feel like with all that privilege over you that they have the right and they have the perspective, which again is postured above you, to say some shit. Oh, Jordan, did you want to say something? If you want to say something, you don't have to say hand raise, unless you're saying hand raise and like salute to you or something. But like, I don't know. But if you want to say something, you can always say something. You don't have to feel like you're interrupting me. But when you, Plus Size Princess said, what did Nene say? Um, um, Sorry. When asked somebody asked me what did Nene say? Nene basically slut shamed Cynthia Bailey's daughter, and was just shaming her, you know, on the basis that she had a boyfriend and Cynthia didn't know, and Cynthia was being very lax, quote unquote, about it. I mean, honestly, like how up in arms should Cynthia be? And like, again, I want to say I've been saying Nene did not have a plot line. For her plot line to go way the fuck left like this just lets me know further that like she's just getting coins on this show. She's just holding space until she can be sassy black woman number what the fuck ever on the next sitcom run by whatever gay man that like loves the fuck out of like Nene's attitude, you know what I mean, and can afford to pay her whatever the fuck she believes that she is worth now based on her fucking fame. And that is fucking real. Like, I would never try to hate on somebody getting their coins, but at the same time it's just like at the expense of who and what, you know. And it was just really disheartening because it's like, you know, somebody did, I'll leave a comment on my video and they said, you know, people on the show really weren't talking about Bryson. People weren't really talking about, you know, their child that was seemingly in distress and going through real fucking things. And I think that there was just like a level of just like silence and reverence for Nene's business. And I think that it's just interesting that in terms of Noelle having a boyfriend, and again, I feel like people be sexualizing kids. Like, what the fuck? It's like Noelle's mad young. If Noelle, like, what are you thinking? Like, why are you sexualizing this relationship? Like, you know, I wish like we really gave a fuck about young people enough to ask them what the fuck they mean. Cause like, you know, if we said, if someone if my child told me, you know, I'm with this person, I'm dating them, all I would need to do is be like, well, what does that mean? You know, like, let's be real. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, it don't seem like it's that complicated to really navigate. As long as we're open and honest with the fuck with what the fuck is going on. But again, you know, I think that like we have to really consider, you know, the child, you know, as an equal person. And that's what I meant when I was saying like challenging the power dynamics between child and adult, you know, the idea that as an adult I have absolute power over you. As a child, it's just like, it's not realistic, you know what I mean? It sets not only the child up for fucked up shit, like in terms of feeling abandoned, it sets you up as a parent in terms of you feeling like you have to be there in every fucking waking moment of this child's life, in every stressful situation. There are situations where you're gonna have to let your child figure it the fuck out. Like, that's part of life. And I'm not saying like, you know, they have a boyfriend and girlfriend, you don't talk to them about it, but it's like you don't try to persuade them into following your way of doing things. If at 13 you personally weren't dating, I know I wasn't dating at fucking 13. I know I personally wasn't dating at 13. I dated people way late in life. And I knew that like when I was younger, I was sad about it, but like I think like looking back, I was sad about like nothing really. Cause like, you know, whoever the fuck would have wanted to hold my hand or be with me or whatever, it's like, is that like real? You know what I mean? Like there were just so many like couplings happening, like, you know, and not to invalidate anybody's like first grade boyfriend, third grade crush, boo boo, whatever, booski. I'm just saying like I feel like for a little while I was very bitter about like not having dated like when I was younger, but it's like being in relationships now as an older person lets me know that like in a lot of ways I'm not ready to be in a relationship, like to be real. Like I feel like my partners like are also people who are struggling in terms of like having interpersonal relationships with other people that are like focused on fucking healing and not focused on like damaging each other, but also not focused on like some bullshit ass essentialist tip where like one of us is a provider and da 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 da. It's more about like the times and memories we want to create together outside of capitalism, while also being mindful of ways like that bills do need to get paid and we do want to pay for fun and stuff like that. But like without the added pressure of like societal like bearings on people. You know, I feel like we get into these modes very quickly when we're dating people of, oh well, they should do this first or they should call me, or you know, I don't have time for that shit. And I feel like, you know, I can be kind of cold in relationships. But what someone might say is cold, I would describe as perhaps, you know, being more introverted and just like needing more energy to really re-energize and like really be able to be around folks and really be able to give my energy to people's. Um, but I kind of went on a tangent. I'm sorry about this. Let me read. Uh, Yes. POC with money do be feeling a certain type of way. Listen, me and my homie was talking about it. Shout out to you, Jody. We were talking about that black capitalist shit. And I think it was more so the fact that we were talking about and talking to mainly black trans folks about situations. But like it seemed like, you know, I don't know. I just noticed that when people were struggling, they were a whole lot more communal. You feel me? Niggas was really in the community when they didn't have shit. But I noticed when people started getting up on their own, like making their own coins and doing them, it just seemed like that's all they were focused on was getting coins and doing them. And that's what it became. It became them just like trying to see how much more they could accumulate, how much more power they could have, how much more they could posture. And that's what I think privilege is, because I feel like some people want to not talk about privilege. They don't want to call it privilege because white people be getting mad, or privileged folks, excuse me, be getting mad about, you know, shit that is real, you know, call outs that need to happen. So I think it's important to, you know, talk about it in perspective with fucking posturing. You feel me? Like white rich niggas be looking down on everybody. You feel me? But like it don't mean that like money don't help you posture, looks don't help you posture. You feel me? Like, and again, posturing privilege. You know, when you looking down at somebody, you really can't appreciate all of the fucking perspectives that this person fucking has. You know what I mean? And you can't even see perhaps, you know, what's going on beneath you. now that you're quote unquote at the top and looking down at everybody. But there's a different perspective always from the fucking bottom, and people from the top should really fucking, take heed. But I guess, that's how things are set up. Um, but exactly. Exactly. Like I think dating is whack, to be honest. Like I think like at 13, I don't know what the fuck dating is at 13. And like that's again not to shame and not to shade. It's just like for me, I was just very awkward, and like again, we got to talk about our experiences, I'm like a very like Noel's growing up like upper middle class. Like you feel me? Like son, like you over here talking about some, oh, I took your credit card and bought some books. Like bitch, let me take my mama's credit card ever. You feel me? Let me look at my mama's credit card too long. You know what I mean? It's just like different lifestyles, and like people are just living a different lifestyle. Like my mom was like more in my life because like while she did work, she was still nosy and so that wasn't on a TV show and trying to run a damn modeling agency. You know what I mean? Cynthia is a busy person, and while Noelle has like three parents, it don't mean that like Cynthia's time with Noelle isn't like sometimes compromised. So it just makes me think, like, Noelle has the ability to go and be dating somebody and then telling their mom nonchalantly and shit. You know what I mean? Me, if I like somebody, if I write it down in my journal, my mom will read it. And I feel like somebody else was talking about like black mama privacy and like how niggas would just be busting in, be like, and it's true. Like my mom, like child, like my mom just is the busting in type, is the open and male type. I don't know, like I don't want to sit here and implicate all black women as or black female assigned at birth folks as like people being open and male committing federal offenses and shit. But I think that like I know of some instances where mail has been opened, and I feel like some niggas in the chat may know what I mean. um Word. Word, that's real. Exactly, yo, that's true. College people are so about being fake polite. But I also feel like money makes people be on some gossip girl shit. You feel me? It's like people do blatantly horrible, fucked up things, but in the eyes of the scene, in the eyes of society, I feel like they want to be like, seen as above anything below. And therefore, they will posture and they will side eye, but they will also have blind eyes to abuse and situations of just disharmony and neglect. And it's unfortunate because I've seen it in a lot of situations, but I just noticed that a lot of times when capitalism, or rather when money is introduced as being something that someone holds over someone else, I noticed that like that situation usually becomes escalated in a way that's very fucking unfortunate and very like divisive. But I noticed that, again, these are black rich ladies sitting at a table discussing younger black women, and implicating that younger black women are at fucking malls twerking. And that is one facet of blackness that is real. You know what I mean? I would love to be at the mall twerking right now, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning. A niggas gotta sleep. But for whatever reason, if God forbid you twerk in the mall, you know, then X on you. You know what I mean? A plague on your house. I don't know. I'm not sure where Nene was going with that, other than I'm sure that she meant to say that like somehow someone twerking at a mall is low class and not worthy of anything, and Cynthia should watch out before she has a mall twerker on her hands. Which makes me just depressed because Noelle should be able to twerk whatever the fuck she wants to twerk. She should be able to do whatever she wants. She should be able to do the fucking foxtrot on a fucking box of old biscuits if she wants to, and that's okay. But I mean, notice again, posturing. When you posture, I think also a key to that is also retaining that posture, never seeming to stoop or slope or fall into the stereotypes of whatever marginalized group you're really in. You know what I mean? So if you try to posture over folks with money, and you know that you come from a history of not having money, you know, you might go a little bit extra hard on your broke folks, you know what I mean? Trying to like come for them, telling them to get their bootstraps. It's similar with fatness. When, you know, fat folks like lose hella fucking weight, when they get that thin privilege, they love to go find their fat friends and tell them about shit. Child, let me tell you, if I had a cookie if I had a cookie for every time one of my fat friends lost a bunch of weight on Weight Watchers or some other motherfucking diet plan, diet system, treatment, whatever, if I had a cookie for each time one of these people came up to me and tried to tell me something about losing weight or how I could do it too, or some sort of motivational speech about fat bitches, something, bitch, I will be satisfied. Okay? And let me tell you, I love cookies. Let me tell you, I fucking love cookies. I've had a lot of people fucking tell me, you know, after they lost weight, they want to come into my life all easy breezy on their thin privilege shit like, girl, you could do it too. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to hate on you folks out here on Weight Watchers and shit, you know, do you, Pikachu. But I'm not here for that shit. You know what I mean? But like I just noticed when people come from a marginalized group, they get their little boost in whatever fucking way they can, whatever little privilege they get popping, they want to look down and come for folks. And I feel like that's a big part of privilege. Like you need to analyze whatever the fuck privilege you have, analyze the folks that are oppressed by that shit and really see how you can help these niggas without being fucking condescending and without being fucking like uh on some savior type shit, thinking that you being so selfless. Nigga, it's what you supposed to do. When you get privileges for doing nothing, for literally just fucking rolling out of bed and just fucking existing, it's not fair to the folks that actually put fucking time and work into the shit and are constantly kept out because they don't have the fucking privileges that you have, that you did not earn. So like that's yeah. You know, that's real. Um oh, chocolate chips, bitch. Chocolate chips. Um oh, I'm sorry. I saw a video from one of those inspirational yada yada people. She was a black woman and pretty religious. She talked about women who twerk have no self respect. And it makes you think, what does she think about her life and how she got to be where she is now? Nene, I mean. There's something internalized there. No, I agree because the thing is, like, Nene was also a sex worker. Nene was a stripper. I'm pretty sure strippers were twerking on poles and doing all types of tricks and things of that nature. Um, who are you to judge? You know, even if you didn't, even if Nene fucking like was in the church all day, even if Nene fucking like lived underground, even if Nene lives in a fucking a box, you know what I mean? Even if Nene lived in a fucking treehouse, you know what I mean? It's still nowhere in life are you in a position to be judging somebody. Nowhere in life. You know, nowhere in fucking life. You know, nobody out here is living for you. And I think that when people realize that, when you realize that you're not living for nobody else, I think that's more powerful. But really realize people that are not living for your ass. But also important, realize that you are not living for nobody else. You are living for fucking you. You gotta fucking put yourself on the motherfucking pedestal and really care about you. But in this situation with the whole Nene thing, it just like it bothers me because again, you know, as someone who is often female assumed, you know, I do anything with my body and I'm looked at in some type of way. You know, there were just like the policing of my body like is so annoying, but especially in terms of like blackness, especially in terms of like blackness and fatness, you know, people feeling like they have the right to talk about me and they have the right to offer and solicit to me things and tell me how to live my life. You know, it's just like that's so much privilege you have to be sitting somewhere and feeling like you know me better than me and feeling like you know how to help me more than I can help me, and really be offering just like a fucking judgments and negativity on me. It's just a very strange thing to watch. And again, I really do appreciate Nene. I think that she's hilarious, but I think at the same time, you know, as someone who considers themselves a comedian, comedy comes from a dark place sometimes. You know, sometimes we got some things we need to work out, and by no means am I perfect. By no means have I been a perfect fucking, you know, anti-oppressionist person my whole life, obviously not, but I think it's important to call shit out when we see shit, because like that's a big part of like changing things. That's a big part of like changing how we see things and promoting dialogue, so like the people that don't know or don't understand can say their piece and then under like either, you know, understand from rebuttals or understanding from educating themselves. Hopefully, that's what they fucking do, educate themselves. Don't expect people to educate you. That's also a big part of it. But it just, again, getting back to it, like, having a body, having people assume, things about your gender, about your sexuality, just from your body is just like so creepy. I want to say also too, I don't know. Like, part of me feels weird about talking about this because I feel like really, I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of layers to it, so I feel like it has to be broken down in a lot of ways. But I feel like, I've been recently trying to wear my natural hair, but I dyed my natural hair like a weird color. I tried to dye it black, but then it faded back to green, and I'm kind of just over it. And I just want it to be like one natural color again. I'm kind of like over having colorful hair a little bit. Like, not really, but like I kind of am, but only because my hair is boring me now. Like, I don't want to cut my sides anymore. But tangent, sorry. I've been trying to like wear like natural hair wigs because like they make me feel like really positive with my hair because my hair, like when I was growing out my hair before I like really was cutting it and doing things with it, it was like not similar to this curl pattern at all, but it moved and it had like a very nice texture, and I really just missed it. And I also like having the warmth of a lace front on my head. Like, this is actually seriously very warm. Sometimes in summer it's almost impossible to even be thinking about wearing a wig, but in these winter months it's kind of like wearing a very fabulous hat. So, when I wear my hair like this, I realize that it's giving people realness, but I also notice the fetishization of fucking black hair, bruh. Like, listen, when I was out in the streets with my colorful mohawk and shit, like, yeah, people would fucking be gawking and be wanting to touch it. But this shit right here, like, this is the shit, okay? People are out here losing their fucking minds. I had to tell mad people not to fucking touch my hair. I had to stop people from fucking sniffing on my hair. It was so fucking creepy. And I think that like it just goes to show that, like, just because this isn't my real hair don't mean that's not gonna creep me out if you touch it. It's still part of me. I came out with this shit. If I'm wearing a pin and you fucking pull the fucking pin, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not supposed to be mad just because it was a pin. Like, it's not part of my every. I don't know what the fuck those people are trying to say, but like, people touching black folks, black bodies not being fucking autonomous, like black bodies not being able to move through the world without being questioned and touched. And like, people don't really ask me that much, like, if this hair is real. People usually accept that this hair is mine, but I will notice, like, let me tell you, when I wear like straighter curl patterns, people will ask me, is this your hair? Like, straight up, they're just like, this can't be your hair, because like people think straight hair is, you know it can't be real. Brown skin, straight hair. You know what I mean? Like, that, they're not buying it. But this hair, they're buying it, but they're also like objectifying the fuck out of me, and it's very creepy. The things that happen, and it just makes me think, because at the end of the day, I can take this shit off, and like things are obviously like, less like fetish ish. But I think at the same time, I get fetishized for so many things. It's just like hard to like realize what I'm getting fetishized for unless they explicitly say it. You know what I mean? Sometimes they'll go out of their way to say some things. Like, I remember I was riding my bike one time down the street, and this white man dead ass started following me on a bike, talking about singing "Wild Thing" behind me, just like "Wild Thing," and I'm just like, ew, like, go away, like, ew. And it's just like shit like that, man. Shit is weak, but let me get back to the chat. I'm sorry. Y'all know I be tangent. mm. Body policing. Exactly. Who said being wide was bad? They're haters. Mm. Mm. Who do you find that makes the most comments? I would say white men. White men are the creepiest dudes ever. Like, they are the ones that like will touch it, will say the weirdest things, and like white dudes are blatantly racist. Like, I mean, like I like when I was working that magic shop, child. Let me tell you, I had so many instances. Like I remember I said one time, like one white dude came up to me and was like, he was like, "Have you seen that Chris Rock movie, Good Hair?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "I learned a lot from that movie, like not to touch it." And I was like, Chris Rock had to tell you, bitch, in 2000, whatever the fuck, that your old ass shouldn't be touching people's hair. Like, come the fuck on. You know what I mean? That's a shame. You know what I mean? I'm glad you got some church, bitch. But, like, damn. You know what I mean? Hmm. I'm dead. Yo, for real. I don't know. Older white men are just, like, really creepy. But I've definitely had, like, a lot of older white men just be. I had this one older white dude come into the magic shop and he was just like, he like walked up to me and was just like, "Are you a real witch? Can you get me a wife? About 5 foot tall, Asian and submissive?" And I was like, "No." And then he was like, "Aw," he was like, "I like Asians." He's like, "I think they're cute." And then he looks at his daughter and he goes, "She thinks they're weird looking." And then the daughter was like, and it was like these two ugly ass white people just in the magic shop just being racist. And I'm just like, this is it. I'm like slaves died. I was like, slaves died for y'all niggas to just be in New Orleans on some fucking, we're from fucking Lafayette, fucking drove here just to take my fucking ugly ass daughter to a fucking magic shop and harass fucking black ladies at their fucking whack ass job. You know what I mean? And I was sitting there at the job and I was just getting mad, but it's like I couldn't even bug on him. Like, that's poverty, my nigga. Like, when like you go, like, when you going through some racist shit, when you having racist people at your job bothering you and doing evil shit, and you can't even be like, y'all are racist. Like, yo, tell me why one time this white lady fucking like stopped me outside. Like, I had this afro wig on, and she was like, "Is that all yours?" And I was like, "That's racist." And this bitch was like, "Excuse me?" And I was like, "That's racist." She goes, "Excuse me." She goes, "Do you even know what I am?" And there was this ugly ass white lady with dreads talking about, how can I hate what I am? And she had a fucking she had like a black baby being held by a white man, like coming down the street. And she's like, "You don't even know what I am." And I was just like, "Okay, no shade, but even if you are like a biracial, like a white passing black lady, like, fuck out of here still, because like you shouldn't be asking niggas if this is their real fucking hair. Like, no tea. Like, I feel like that's just like the code. Like, you don't ask people if that's their real fucking hair. If you want deets, bitch, if you want details, like, you're bold as fuck for asking. I'll say that, because I think that it's like, nobody owes it to you to tell you what the fuck the tag in their wig says. Shit, some people do it. I be doing it, but not everybody's gonna do that for you. You shouldn't be expecting that shit, because not everybody is open with their fucking body mods. That's another thing. Some people are just not here for you outing them. So that's also a part of it. So don't be fucking going up to people talking about, is that a wig? Because that's fucking transphobic, to be honest, and that's fucking like hella fucking. It's just It's like, why do you need to know the invisible parts of my fucking life, bitch? Like, if you can't tell, bitch, then it must be doing its damn job. Okay, camouflage like shit. You know what I mean? But that white lady was mad when I told her when I told that white lady it was racist to say that shit. She was like, "It's not racist to ask a question," and I was like, "It is though. Some questions are racist. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry to tell you that. But man, you know how shit be. But also, I was gonna talk about something else. What time are we at? We're at 32. Okay, I don't feel bad about this. Actually, let me powder my nose. Oh my god. Steven S. Stevens Steven SCGA. I don't feel like that's a race hang up. I feel like someone asking if you have a big dick because you're Dominican has more to do with like the fetish, the hypersexualization of like darker skinned men. You know what I mean? And it's like it's very disgusting and very pervasive because it gives black men this allure, or fucking not allure. I shouldn't say that, but it gives like black men, quote unquote, because like we're talking about the stereotype, we're talking about it through a lens of like whiteness. We give black men this hypersexualized uh sexually deviant connotation, which means white women rebel and fuck black men. Um, other women, even other, women of color, um, and other folks, sexualize blackness in a way that is like very repugnant and very othering, and exotifying, kind of like when like white ladies go to like fucking Jamaica, they be doing like Dial Rasta and shit. They just be fucking black dudes just because, you know, of like the implied like sexual promiscuity of like younger black men. Um, exactly, Amber. Exactly, Amber. People like if somebody asks you like if okay, I'm sorry, I'm like not trying to have my boobs like super on cam. I mean, like I'm pretty sure almost everyone here has seen my boobs though, so it's really not that serious. Let me see. Yeah, no, I agree. I think people asking you about your weave is fucking ridiculous. I think it's fucked up. And I've always felt like that, but I also felt some type of way about I've always been shamed for wearing weave, and I feel like that's also because of beauty culture. I feel like and this is me not trying to be like extra. This is me just trying to like break down what I think. I think that when you are getting privilege from the way you look and it is not quote unquote authentic, it creates a an anger, but also, and rightfully so, but also an anger that is also kind of like misplaced and misdirected on the person and not the systems in place. Like no individual person who's put on makeup and like looks fucking bomb like came up with the idea that like looking fucking bomb with makeup on is gonna get you privileges. Like no one's come up with that. They benefit from it, sure, but that's not their system. And to like shit on people who like wear makeup or who look quote unquote like whatever the fuck, like whatever insert like slut shaming ass fucking thing that people fucking think of when they think about makeup and women looking quote unquote good. Like, oh, I'm gonna go for my slut look, oh, my whore look. You know what I mean? Notice that. Notice like we imply sex work with our looks, but we don't stand in solidarity. With sex workers. We'll talk about how we have our whore outfit, but like we're not whores, or rather, we'll fight to say we're not whores, or we'll say we're not a whore. But like the way that words get used. Um, but yeah, as I was saying though about how like the hypersexualization of black men is like fucking mad gross and it's mad fucking potent and it's like really creepy. Because like there was like this white girl who was like following me who's like trying to be my friend or something, and she was talking about how she was like fucking this black dude, and she was actually like using like the fact that he was like this black like long like king dread ass nigga like uh like was using his picture and like I think pictures of his dick to solicit other white women out of mad money. And I was like kind of dead, but I was kind of annoyed that it was a white woman doing this. Like, I was like actually very sick about it because I was just like, oh, like, man, like, I mean, on one hand, it's like, she is using this money to take care of this black man, but I'm like, god damn, like, what kind of relationship is this? You feel me? Like, god damn, y'all are out here banging, you know what I mean? Y'all is grinding. But, uh, yeah, just like a lot of fucking creepy people. Y'all be telling me fucking R.L. Steins and shit in here. Mm. Yeah, but you know what though? I think you have to look at like femininity and like what womanity has been like shown to be. I remember I saw like this picture that said like Disney gives girls unrealistic hair goals. And I thought it was really funny because like they're so threatened by black hair they won't even have a black princess. You know what I mean? Like what like natural hair. Like Tiana shit was perm to the gods. You feel me? And like no tea, no hate, no hate. But I'm being real, you know what I mean? It's like fuck, you know? It's just like when black women are constantly like reminded that like they're not delicate, they're not beautiful enough, they're not innocent enough, they're not pure enough, you know, it's just so fucking overwhelming. Um so I'm dead. Yeah, nobody asks a white woman if she has extensions, unless, but no, you know what's funny though? Like, most of the time when I see white girls with extensions, you could tell. And so that's what makes me laugh about people talking about ratchet, like black girls and weaves. Cause I'm like, yo, if I had a camera for every time I seen a white girl in fucking CVS, with some clip-ins that were mad visible. Like, come on, you know? Like, like honestly, I've seen a couple black ladies with their hair done so fucking bomb. I wasn't sure if it was a U part wig, a lace front, tracks, some clip-ins, some fusions. I was not sure. I was looking at the shit like a Rubik's cube. I was like, but I was loving it. You know what I mean? I was confused, but like gagging at the same time. I was having a whole bunch of fucking outer body fucking experiences. See that's. Mm, I don't know. Like I think like I wore my natural. I remember like as a kid wearing my natural hair because like my mom was not putting me no fucking weave, bitch. My mom did not have weave money. I was not like honestly like that's the other thing. My mom is a white passing black woman of color who um like while my mom grew up around like other black folks and did have black folks in her life, my mom had no fucking idea how to do my fucking hair. So like I had to learn to do my hair and that's why I can do hair now cuz like my mom really was not helping me. But I had a situation where you know you know not every black woman has the same experience. Um so I think when I was wearing my natural hair out, I remember like people would say things like I had my afro was out and like I don't know, my hair texture is kind of like it's weird because it's like I always hated my hair texture like when I was like little, and it fucks me up because I was like just watching a video like before I like bleached the fuck out of my hair and really fucked up some of the texture of like the like length of it. Like it was really bouncy and fluffy and it looked so beautiful and luxurious. And I was always like thinking like if I bleached it more, it would feel softer, but it was so soft and nice. Like I was just like, what the fuck? And I think that that was part of like my partner, like at the time, like making me feel like my hair wasn't like nice because like they like that was like they're a white person, so like they're not gonna fucking be able to like see the beauty of my hair. Not saying all white folks can't see the beauty of black folks' hair. I'm just saying like my hair was fucking bomb before I fucked it up, and like I shouldn't say it's fucked up, but I want to say that like I definitely bleached it more than it should have been bleached. So now the shit is fucking rusting. But I'm excited because like when I saw what it was looking like, I know that my hair is gonna grow back. I know it's gonna have another growth period where it's like gonna do its damn thing, and it's already growing back and it's already looking fucking healthy as fuck. And I'm just not gonna bleach it like this ever again. I've learned my lesson. This is like the second time I ever bleached my hair really, and like the last time honestly. Like maybe I might lighten it up a little bit, but I'll never change my hair texture again. Like that's just something I'll never do. Cause honestly, if you bleach your hair too much, your hair starts feeling like white people hair. It was really gross. It was really freaking me out. And like my hair would get wet, and then it would take forever to dry, and they'll be just like feeling so slimy and limp. It just feels so dead. Ugh, it just makes me so sad. But bitch, I got that apogee, so I'm good. Um, dude, like I think like I would super always choose a man of color over a white man as a partner any day. I think that like my white partners have just been from like assimilation. I think honestly, I think a lot of POC who date white folks are just trying to assimilate in some way or another. Not to be shitty to them, not to be shitty to that person. I'm just saying that I feel like in some ways like having a white partner um You know, it is a status symbol in other ways too. You know, I will say that a lot of my white partners, they have like white dudes just get so much free stuff, dude. Let me tell you, all these white dudes that I've ever hooked up with, they all got these like free things, like from some work thing or something. Like all these white dudes out here are very taken care of. Like, let me tell you. And I feel like in some ways because like um I don't know. I feel like in some ways, you know, part of my legacy of poverty is like being with a partner in order for stability. So I feel like finding a white partner is always like kind of like easy because they're like always like trying to fucking be somebody's goddamn daddy. That's the fucking patriarchy though. That's the part of it. But then also, you know, I noticed that whenever I'm like dating men of color, they're like very much like more interested in like having like their own defined space and not really trying to like build something. And not saying that's all of them. I'm just saying that like a lot of I feel like all of the men of color that I've really dated were like more interested in looking and like more interested in like them instead of worrying about an us or a we. And like that's not to say that anyone is fucked up. It's just to say that like I find that for myself, I like to be in situations where people are like more worried about me. And I feel like it's harder for men of color to really like give a fuck about me as a black fucking as a black woman. They're just really like not here to like, you know, coddle me or anything like that. And I feel like you know, white dudes will coddle you. That's some real shit. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna act like that's not part of. Maybe I wouldn't say the attraction. I would say that's part of like the perhaps ease of dating one. The ease of dating a white man is that they're fucking seemingly uninhibited because like they're you know they what the fuck do white dudes have to complain about, and they have a lot to complain about, let me tell you, but it's all bullshit. And I think that what white dudes really like are like brown ladies who will listen to them. I've noticed this a lot of the brown ladies that I chill with that have white partners, their white partners be real quiet in the space, but you know that when they get home it's just them chattering on about non fucking actual serious important things. But you know, that's neither here nor there. I feel like I'm gonna end this, but honestly, everyone's been writing such amazing things. Ah, I feel so bad about wanting to leave, but it's 4 o'clock in the morning where I'm at, and I love all of y'all. I wish I could save all of these chats. Actually, the chat will be here, so I think I'm gonna go through it in the next Ustream, and we're gonna talk about some old stuff. So I hope everybody comes back. Who's here right now? I'm gonna try to have a Ustream tomorrow, maybe, but kind of busy. Not gonna lie. Um, but it's good to talk. It's cool to talk to you guys. It's cool to talk. And I recorded this, so it's all here. So we'll talk soon. Bye bye. My phone, cause like that's okay. And really, it's my fault. I don't know how to work this phone like that. So you know, I'm trying to figure out how to turn off the chime when the niggas try to email me instead. You know, I don't know how it's gonna be. Boop boop. Okay. Thank you, Sabiri. Yes. So anyways, getting back to it. So but I'd like to say thank you. So you know, when we're talking about twerking in the mall, you know, I'm just sitting here like, nigga, do you know what I used to do in the fucking mall? Can I tell you? One time I bought some popcorn and just went to the family bathroom and fucking popped that shit and just sat in the mall and was eating it. And I didn't know you couldn't do that at the mall. There's a lot of shit you can't be doing at the mall. I feel like twerking is probably something you can't do at the mall because if you can't eat popcorn at the mall, even though they got a microwave, even though I'm sure it's for baby bottles and things of that nature, but still, you know what I mean? Nobody stopped me. And I still made the popcorn. But I did get stopped by security just for leisurely eating some popcorn in the motherfucking mall. Like, this nigga deadass stopped me and told me to throw it away. And I was kind of tight because it was that cinnamon popcorn, you feel me? Like that cinnamon icing popcorn and shit. It was really delicious. So I was kind of just like, fuck. So I actually started eating it real fast and I threw it away and then I just like dipped. But I was kind of mad. But really, anyways, there was a lot of antics at the mall. You know what I mean? So I feel like they're also implicating like black girls specifically. They're talking about people twerking in the fucking mall. You know what I mean? Oh, they'd be twerking in the mall, and this is a black genderqueer person, a black just a black fucking being, nigga. What up? You know, how many times have you been, you know, ostracized or called out for just doing something that you wanted to do, you know, like that you thought you had autonomy, but people around you wanted to check the fuck out of you and let you know you did not. And unfortunately for them, that's not the case. You certainly do have autonomy, but within the system, you know, people out here feel like when they have privilege, they want to tell you about yourself, you know. They feel like with all that privilege over you that they have the right and they have the perspective, which again is postured above you, to say some shit. Oh, Jordan, did you want to say something? If you want to say something, you don't have to say hand raise, unless you're saying hand raise and like salute to you or something. But like, I don't know. But if you want to say something, you can always say something. You don't have to feel like you're interrupting me. But when you, Plus Size Princess said, what did Nene say? Um, um, Sorry. When asked somebody asked me what did Nene say? Nene basically slut shamed Cynthia Bailey's daughter, and was just shaming her, you know, on the basis that she had a boyfriend and Cynthia didn't know, and Cynthia was being very lax, quote unquote, about it. I mean, honestly, like like even if I was motherfucking doing the Charleston, if I was singing Kids Bop karaoke in the fucking mall, that does not mean that I deserve to have some fucked up shit happen to me. That doesn't mean that I deserve to be left with a child. It doesn't mean any of those things. But like hearing these women talk, it's very strange, like how they speak about black women, because it's almost as if they're not black women. It's almost as if money and notoriety and privilege has helped them posture so much so that they can kind of look down. And I feel like that's part of oppression, is helping to oppress other folks, you know what I mean? And sometimes you'll be a part of that oppressed group and you'll be sitting up here but sitting on your other privileges, you know, and be looking down at folks, feeling like these folks are not you and you are not them, when that is not the case. In so many ways, you know, we are obviously not each other's experiences, but we do have, and see, this is me speaking, obviously as a black woman, you know, and noting my privilege as a light skinned person, noting that like, you know, no matter how much I identify as black, folks do question my blackness, and while that is obviously something negative for me, it plays into a larger system of anti-blackness, which is a privilege. And I feel like, you know, some light-skinned people, they be having hard times, you know, really thinking about shit like that, but it's real. Light-skinned people, you know, they forget that, yeah, we're all black. Now, I think I said before that when I make videos, sometimes I'll be like all over the place and I won't really be able to say everything I want to say. So tonight I made a video about Nene Leakes slut shaming Cynthia Bailey's daughter Noelle, and I really didn't like even go in. Like I really feel like I scratched the surface, but I think I was also looking at the time. I was like, oh, I really don't want to make a 20-minute video, but now it's probably gonna end up being like a 40-minute 2-video series type thing. Child, who is calling my line? I'm sorry. So, Nene Leakes. When I was going in, I was talking. I misquoted, or rather I misspoke, and I was saying, you know, twerking in the club, when, you know, Nene and them were talking about twerking in the mall, and as if like that matters. It's like, what were y'all doing in the mall before? You know what I mean? I know when I was in the mall, we was acting up. I can't think of any generation of peoples that was fucking with the mall that wasn't doing something wild, you know? These folks need to stop playing like they always had coins, you know what I mean? A lot of these folks did not grow up rich, you know what I mean? So it's just wild to me how, like, they get up here and they're just like, you know what I mean? Because, like, we have to think about how privilege helps people posture. Coins help people posture like a mug. Let me tell you, once people get coins, that's when you notice people will drop shit off. You know, I feel like Nene's gotten very reckless. Like the more money she gets, the more her story kind of falls apart. Okay, I'm gonna turn off. But like light skinned people are so quick to talk about, oh, if slavery happened again, we will all be slaves. But you hear how light skinned people talk about they would still be slaves, but they won't talk about how within slavery they were favored, and within slavery they had privileges. You know, light skinned people had a higher rate of being freed. Light skinned people had a more cushier fucking life to protect that light skin. So it's interesting to me that like light skinned people will talk about slavery, but they won't call out the the layers, you know what I mean? And again, as race is constructed, because I know there's people out there who like they don't want to talk about racism because they think all this shit is constructed, and while it is a construct, we live within it. So it's kind of like trying to talk about the stars and the moons and the heavens, but you won't talk about the grass and the fucking earth. Like you won't talk about the shit we on right now, we fucking went right now, but you're willing to transcend your view to some other shit. So while I see you, we all humans, kumbaya, play the banjo, bitch. We gotta talk about this shit because there's healing involved here. But I think when we talk about uh, you know, when we talk about people twerking in the mall as a negative thing. We talk about black women using their bodies how the fuck they want being a negative thing. You know, how many of us in here, if you are a black woman or a black person,